All right, what's good, everybody? Welcome back to another video. So today I'm just gonna be breaking down GJ and gold for you guys heading into the London session. We're a little bit early still. It's an hour. We're currently about an hour and a half away from the London session, but currently looking at GJ here on the daily time frame. So if we just take a look at the daily time frame trend overall over the last few weeks, GJ has constantly been trending bearish and bearish, making new lows and making new lower highs. So the overall trend right now on GJ definitely is bearish, but the question kind of arises as to where could we possibly see GJ go? Because if we look at this area that GJ actually rejected, which is going to be kind of this 156 range, let's call it here, GJ had a bounce from this area and then went all the way back up into the 168 range. Bounce from this area all the way back up into the 160 to 172 range. So the question kind of arises, it's kind of like, well, can we see GJ bounce again from this 156 range all the way back up into this 167 range? You know, that's a great question, and really we're just gonna have to wait and see what kind of happens with GJ overall with direction here, because at the end of the day, this is a big consolidation range. We're talking about a consolidation range of roughly 1,283 pips, which is a very big range to have for consolidation. So as of right now, we're going to just kind of pay attention to what the more relative price action is doing. If you guys simply look left, you will see that there is a major area of support kind of throughout this entire range here. So this is going to be daily previous support, which as you guys can see is now actually holding as resistance. So I'm going to mark this off as daily support. Right, so this is going to be a major daily support. Then this right here is going to hold and act as our major daily resistance. So I'm going to modify this here as well. We're going to rename this to daily resistance. Now the only reason I'm using a horizontal line for the resistance level is just simply because of the placement and where GJ is currently trading at. I don't like to see like huge massive zones in terms of these levels when price action is currently around that area. But as of right now, GJ currently is trading under our previous major support, which now is holding as resistance. So with that being said, I really wouldn't look to buy GJ unless we could start to break above this 160 area, basically break above these daily highs. Then we could start looking to potentially buy GJ from a longer term perspective, because again, if price starts to trade back above support, we can easily see price continue to trade lower. So I'm actually going to move this around, try and make this make the most sense for me as possible. And to me, that's going to be this area right here. So 160, call it, is where we would be looking for this area of resistance here on GJ. One thing to also keep in mind as well is GJ does have its daily highest closes being here. So that's something that's notable that you can actually mark off for your lower time frames when you are trading at that area. So we're going to put here daily closes, just to keep in mind where GJ is opening and closing on the daily time frame. So definitely, you know, we have GJ kind of bouncing in between support and resistance here. So at this moment in time, it kind of does look like we could definitely look to sell GJ back down into support, but this volume is very strong. I wouldn't be surprised if buyers kind of just broke through these levels and made new highs. Now we've kind of looked at the sell perspective side of things. Now let's kind of look at the buy perspective side of things. So I'm actually going to go down to a 4-hour time frame. And what we have here on the 4-hour time frame essentially is here we have an entire range of support for GJ. So definitely, you know, already looking at this current price action here based off the 4-hour time frame, this is definitely an area where we could potentially look to buy GJ up into the resistance range being 160 flat. You know, it kind of depends, because if we look at this from an overall trend perspective, clearly GJ is very bearish, so we can continue to actually look to sell GJ with the trend. But at the same time, since price is in a consolidation range, we can also see the trend change, which is kind of a little bit of a tricky situation to kind of be in at this point in time. Definitely, I wouldn't look to buy GJ just yet. I would definitely want to see some form of a discount or essentially a pullback in price. An area where we could look to buy GJ would be around this 159 range, where we could look to buy GJ back up into 160. Or if price gives us some form of a break and retest of 160, we could look to buy GJ up into the next highs being 160,800 or possibly even 161,700. Now let's go down into a lower time frame, such as an hour time frame. You can clearly see here that we have this support range being respected. GJ clearly broke above. The obvious play would have been to wait for GJ to pull back into this area to look to buy it up into 160. but that never gave you the chance during the Asian session approaching London. So I'm actually going to go to a 15-minute time frame here, and so far, I mean, this 15-minute time frame is maintaining bullish pretty well. So I mean, just looking at GJ from, again, a perspective here on the 15-minute time frame, definitely if we were to look to sell GJ, the area to sell GJ would be around this 160 range, where we did see 160 get rejected into in yesterday's trading session and saw price make new lows from there. So there's definitely sellers interested in this 160 price point. So if you're looking to sell, definitely 160 would be the range that you would want to sell. But as of right now, we have the current Asian low being at this price range here. So I'm going to mark this off, Asian low, and that's going to be at 158. Yeah, 158.733. That's going to be our Asian low, and then our Asian high as of right now is going to be this price point all the way up here. So I just like to mark off the Asian low and the Asian high, especially when I'm trading London session, just simply because if price breaks above the Asian high, then typically it's showing us that price is continuing to actually make new highs, and that is typically signs of a bullish market condition, and that's when you would want to be looking to put yourself on that side a lot of the time. So price, the Asian high is currently at 159. It looks like price may take out the Asian highs here, 159.909. So again, definitely, you know, price has this entire room to fluctuate before really setting in the trend. So, I mean, obviously, if price breaks the Asian highs, I mean, just from what we've seen over the Asian session in the last few hours, price is still making higher highs. So this is definitely signs of a bullish condition, and I would like to just kind of wait and see what price action does within the time frame of now to the London session. Obviously, if we start to break above 160, that's definitely buys. If we start to break under this major support zone and start heading towards the Asian low, we could definitely start looking for sells. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive trading this 160 range, you could definitely look to sell it overall with the daily trend. I would just keep in mind what the 4-hour time frame is doing along with what the hour time frame is doing. So just keep those two time frames in mind, and definitely if you're going to look to sell at this 160 range, my targets for the 160 range sell would be kind of this 159 area all the way of support down here. So it looks like price is ranging right now in between in 100 pip range from 159 to about 160. So that's going to be my analysis for GJ. I mean, kind of right now there's no real bias in terms of if I'm looking to buy or if I'm looking to sell. I mean, if I am going to be looking to sell, that's because I saw a rejection of 160. We could definitely look for like a 4-hour double top here off of 160, even an hour double top off of 160, then look for price to come down. But then at the same time, you know, we've already seen price reject the 160 twice, and price is still going back up to test that 160 range. Honestly, I would really start looking for buys if we saw a break above this 160 range. Once you see that break above the 160 range, you could start looking for buys. Now, the gold is going to be a little bit different. So let's go to gold on the daily time frame. Gold on the daily time frame overall right now is in a very slow, very choppy, bullish trend, as you guys could clearly see here. Now I'm going to mark off this major area of support that I do see here on gold, which is going to be kind of this entire zone right here is going to be our support range. So I'm going to mark this off as daily support. And then we also have major resistance here on gold on the daily time frame over here as one. I'm going to also mark this off here as one. I'm going to mark this off as daily resistance, right? So we have resistance at about 1874 and support at about 1800. You guys can already see that we've already kind of tapped into this 1864 area and we're starting to reject. So the question kind of comes into mind. It's like, can we pull back all the way back down into our major daily support for a steeper pullback in this trend? I definitely think that's a possibility for gold to go down all the way until 1810. Let's go to the lower time frame, see what the lower time frames are doing. So on the 4-hour time frame, we kind of have this minor level of structure here, which price just broke, and price did make new lows, especially during the last few trading sessions. We've seen price continue to make new lows and new lower highs, which is a great sign for bearish indication. We could definitely see price go down into this 1809 range, 1810 range. Definitely if price continues to trade bearish, the next level I would look for is 1825. And if price continues to break under that, we could definitely look for 1810. Now on the 4-hour time frame, not much detail other than we have a minor break of structure here. Prices made new lows. So it kind of looks like things are going to be going bearish over the next few hours. Looks like price is counter trend trading here as of right now. But what I do see here is that we kind of have this intraday support range, right, being an hour level. So I'm actually going to mark this off here. This is going to be H1 support. And then we also have this resistance range over here, which is going to be an hour level of resistance here. So we're going to mark this off as H1 resistance. Modify this real quick. So, I mean, what we see here initially is price break under this hour level of support, making new lows, but it broke right back above very quickly, retested, and then continued to go up and make new highs. So I'm going to go down to a 15-minute time frame here. I'm going to mark off the Asian session low, which the Asian session low looks to be about this level right here, which I'm going to mark this off as Asian low. That's going to be at 1831.395. And then we have the current Asian high, which is going to be all the way over here. It's going to be Asian high. Asian high at 1840.907. So, I mean, the way things are right now as it is, it does look like on a longer term perspective, price could continue to go down and trade bearish. But as of right now, I mean, we have a very clear break of structure. Price made a new high, pulled back, retested our previous 15-minute high, and is now going up to make new highs. Realistically, at this point in time, I would look for price to kind of come back up into this 1848 area, where we could actually look to sell at this 1848 area. At the same time, you could also look for a break above these Asian highs to buy into this 1848 area. Or if price holds support, you could definitely look to buy it again at this 1832 range. Anything under 1832, you could actually look to sell. And anything at, if you get a rejection of 1848, you could actually look to sell here as well. As of right now, it's kind of a dangerous game for both gold and GJ because they're kind of both consolidating in between two major zones. So the best thing to do is just wait for the best setup possible. If you're going to be trading a lower time frame, such as a 15-minute time frame, then you really have one of two options here. Wait for gold to pull back down to buy back up at least until the Asian high, or wait for gold to kind of come down, break this area, retest, continue to go short. If you don't wait for those setups, and the only other setups I would wait for is either a retest of 1848. If you get a rejection, you could easily sell it back down into 1832. Or if price gives you a break of this major area, you could look to buy it, but that's kind of like a long-term perspective. It's Friday on top of that. So, I mean, a short-term setup you could possibly look for would maybe be a break of the Asian highs to then look to continue to buy it up to new highs. But realistically, like, we just kind of got to wait and see what both of these pairs do over the next few hours. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video.